Hey, y'all gotta see this one.
Isn't it true that you were the first person to become physically violent with Travis and not the other way around?
No.
Not at all?
Something or show me something if I can't recall the exact.
Notice whenever they are asked questions about their own involvement, their own contribution, the memory gets really foggy here, you know? So let's continue.
Steps of the moments.
Question. Okay, so you were the first one to become physically violent with Travis, not the other way around. Answer. Correct.
Yes, is it correct?
You remember that?
Yes.
So you smashed his iPhone not out of anger, but because you were hurt?
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't send my brothers to kill him.
No, you just sent a text to go shoot up his shit, right?
I didn't say shoot him.
You sent a text to go shoot up his shit, right?
Correct.
Tell the jury what the shit is.
When you're angry, you say things. I'm sure.
Now look, that's pleading. They asked her, what is the shit, right? And she goes to, when you're angry, you say things. Well, he was angry, he said things, right? So if that's the case, then you can justify everybody's action with reason. I broke his phone because I was hurt, not because I was mad. Yeah, you're giving us some emotion that was happening when you did a thing. But the problem is that you did the thing. So your emotions does not justify what you just did. They just don't. And you can't look to get out of being accountable to something because you were feeling something or feeling some kind of way when you did something. If that's the case, why run back and say he hit me? Why run back and say he said this thing to me? Wasn't he feeling some kind of way when he said it? See how this works, right? She gets attacked. She goes and says she gets attacked, but she really didn't. She started attacking him. But that's not the narrative that she tells. And when they ask her about it, she can't recall. She wants you to show her proof before she admits to it. Then they talk about slamming the phone. Well, that was because I was hurt, not angry. Then it comes to shooting his shit up. We all know what shooting his shit up means. That could be, mainly it sounds like shoot his house up, his car. And that means even if he's in it, no matter who's in it. I grew up in the streets. Somebody said they shooting your shit up, that's a death threat. It's a fact, okay? And if you say that and you're not being specific in that moment, what do you expect the person that you're requesting this from to do? But now it's all of a sudden, what did you mean by it? And she goes into a plea rather than to just explain what shit means. But let's continue.
I'm sure everyone in this courtroom has said something when I'm trying to speak. If you want me to answer your question, you have to let me answer your question.
Well, if you were responsive to my question, I wouldn't have...
All right. Answer the question, please.
Okay. Can you repeat your question?
Question was shit. What does shit mean in the context of that text?
Anything but him.
Okay. So it could have been his brother?
No.
It could have been the house?
Nothing violent toward a person.
It could have been his mother's house, right?
I was upset and my adrenaline was running and I said something that I didn't mean. That's the bottom line of that.
Okay, so she was upset. Her adrenaline was rushing. She said some things she didn't mean. But what happened from her saying these things? 4 men showed up to her boyfriend's house or ex-boyfriend's house at midnight talking about they were going to talk, but they were all armed, okay? You got to watch this case. I'm going to be reviewing this case tomorrow, guys, at 12 o'clock on Friday. That is June the 2nd, so make sure you're there for that, okay, on my YouTube channel. All right, Kevin Wesley, The Truth Factory. Let's continue.
The bottom line of that, I didn't mean for my brothers to do any of that. That's why when my brother left the house, he did not have a firearm on him. People say things when they're upset that they don't mean all the time, but since the situation has happened, it obviously blew up 20 times more.
It didn't blow up. What you wanted to happen happened. They went over there to do exactly what you asked, fully loaded. It just didn't turn out the way you guys expected. But you can't say, well, I learned now that, things blow up and, when you're in a moment and you're upset, these type of you're talking about people's lives from a moment of being upset. Okay, let's continue.
But I didn't necessarily mean for anything to happen to Travis's family, his house, or anything. It was like my second home. I would not want anything to happen there.
All right. And he never raised a hand and touched you, did he not?
Yeah, he was raising his hand the whole time, like grabbing.
She'll never come off that he was raising his hand the whole time because she needs to somehow put the blame on him for everything that happened, but clearly she started hitting him first, okay? Now, this type of stuff, man, is crazy because people will say, well, she doesn't love her brother. She sent her brother, and the brother got a couple of his friends and cousins, I think, involved, and they went over there. And they'll say, well, she doesn't love her brothers if she's going to use them as pawns. The kicker is she loves her brother. But in a moment of her being angry, she'll just do things, man. She'll just call her family and say, hey, this person did this to me. Can you help me? Can you do something to them because they did something to me? She'll just weaponize them. It's not because she doesn't love them. It actually is in a moment of rage and anger. She is right. That doesn't mean that she shouldn't be accountable to it and be convicted, though. You understand? Because that's exactly why he's in here, for how he was feeling in the moment. You can always justify how you was feeling in the moment. You understand? Because she was upset, honestly, it was over her going through his phone, family, saying that he was potentially talking to other girls. So she said she found some things in his phone. That's what they're arguing about. They were supposedly on a break. Now, that's all nuance, but this ends up escalating into a man losing his life, another man getting shot, okay? And now this guy, Travis Rudolph, is potentially going to go away for life, okay? He's facing life in prison over this, okay? And what this initiated from, was her going through his phone while he was outside. And it blew up all into this. They're meeting up because they miss each other. They was on a break, but they decided to link up because they missed each other. So there's some potential that they're going to get back together, right? That's a good sign. They don't hate each other. They're actually still very interested in each other, like or love each other even, right? But look at what a moment of rage does. Watch this next clip, family.
Why'd you want to smash his car window?
Like I said, it wasn't intentional. I was just throwing things because I was upset.
And when you were throwing things, you were also screaming things at him, like you were going to send your brother Keyshawn over to kill him, right?
Never, ever, ever said the word kill at all.
Okay, so...
4 men showed up at his front door.
And you told both of them that Travis had picked you up and slammed you to the ground, right?
Yes.
And that he had disrespected you.
Yes.
And you also sent a text message to Keyshawn at roughly 9:45 that Travis dropped you to the ground. You remember that?
Yep.
And in response to that text message, Keyshawn sent a group text message to you and Tyler Robinson that Travis is a dead man walking. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's the message that you deleted from your phone, right?
No, I deleted the shoot his shit up message.
And you also deleted the dead man walking message.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't remember if I did or not.
So you really weren't making a living as a real estate agent, right?
No, but I do have a mom and she's a medical assistant, so.
Okay. And you were living with your mom?
Correct.
Right? You had a conversation with a man about marriage, and you're still married to Andre Chusang. Is that correct?
Correct.
You lied to Travis. You misled him, did you not?
Travis never asked me if I was married.
More deceptive talk. This is to indicate that someone must ask you a question in order for you to give them an answer. So if you don't ask, they're full well to keep that disclosed from you. Their own discretion, right? And that's completely fine because, hey, you didn't ask. Men, start asking. You understand? Start asking, all right? But you notice in this video here, she sent 4 guys at midnight. Now, guys, what you doing at night? What you doing if 4 men show up to your house at night after she's already been saying, I'm going to send somebody over here to do something to you? You'd probably just come out guns a-blazing, right? Well, he didn't. He walked outside, got stole on, and he got jumped. He and his brother got jumped, 2 men on 2 men, 2 men on each of them, okay? So this thing went on a long time. You got to come and see me review these testimonies, all right? But as you can see, she's hitting him first, but she goes and tells them that he body slammed her, right? So they're coming over there hot without the whole story, with a narrative, a spell that she gave them. And I always try to tell men that when you're going through a domestic issue like this with a woman, even if she hits you first, even if you calm her down and never hit back, you got to understand that's how she physically attacked you. She's not done. The lies, the weaponizing other people and systems and things like that against you, from calling the cops and lying on you, from going to people that she knows and lying on you, to going to men that she knows to try and get them to defend her. That's the second wave. You understand, family? And that's the real detriment right there. That's what can destroy you and take your life, your freedom, or ruin your life and reputation. Do you understand? So it's a lot of things that men are not being aware of whenever they go at it with women. When she found out that he was going through when he found out that she was going through his phone, from what she is saying, he began to talk junk to her, insult her, tell her the other woman was prettier, infuriate her even more, provoke her even more. You understand? Fellas, when you're doing that to a woman, understand she doesn't fight like you. Those things you're saying to her can cost you your life. You get her enraged, she's liable to go say anything to anyone about you. Do you understand? Why do that? That's very narcissistic. If he got caught cheating, he shouldn't have been talking junk on top of that. You understand? Even if she said, I don't want to be with you no more. You don't infuriate it. Right here, he called her a B, she started hitting him. Okay? Now, when you come and watch the actual case though, they are both calling each other names. So it's a verbal fight. It's not a verbal abuse thing, but it's a verbal fight. But you got to understand, these things escalate into things like this. And this is why I say avoid it. Okay? Let's continue. Let's watch this last clip now.
911 calls for help flood into dispatch around midnight.
Things escalated so quickly.
For the first time, Travis Rudolph talks about the night he says 4 men showed up at his front door.
I heard just a loud bang, as if like the police was at the door.
In exclusive video, we can now see everything playing out on security cameras.
This all happened within seconds, so my brother was the first one to get to the door, so I was worried about his safety as well.
Who is it? Where Travis at? Travis at?
According to court records, Rudolph and his then-girlfriend, Dominique Jones, got into a fight earlier that night.
Open this door, bro, because this got me. Dominique, stop.
Who are you calling it, bruh?
Afterwards, she texted her brother, Keyshawn Jones. Evidence shows they both made threats towards Rudolph.
As soon as I came outside, literally, Tyler, he sucker punched me to my left eye. It was Tyler and Sebastian. They was kind of trying to corner me in. And Tyler, he had pulled out his firearm. And during that time, Tyler pulled out his firearm. Sebastian was like, you messed with the wrong girl, you're gonna die tonight. And then that's when I went back inside and grabbed my firearm.
The fight spilling out into the street. The video shows Rudolph then running off his property with an AR-15.
I had to do what I had to do, you know what I'm saying, to protect me and my family. My brother was on the ground, getting jumped by 2 of those guys, getting kicked. So that's the reason why I went down the street. While they're all in their car, I see 2 firearms pointing at me and my brother. And I couldn't believe it. And it's just a split decision where I just felt like it's either me and my brother or these guys that's, you know what I'm saying, gonna get hurt.
Rudolph firing 39 rounds, the 4 men speeding off.
I know people at home are going to question, okay, he has an AR-15 and he fired.
Well, they can question whatever. He was at home, he had guns, those guns were registered. And the sad part is while this seems like an open and shut case, seeing how deceptive she was being, seeing how irrational and angry she was in the moment and how her contributions literally created this, she's the cause of those 4 men showing up at his house. He didn't tell him that he hit her, she did. And those men chose to drive to his house instead of calling the police. She chose to call those men instead of calling the police. So this was vigilante justice, 100%. Even if they're going over there just to talk, it is 12 o'clock in the morning. It's midnight. You do not have a right to even show up at people's houses to talk. So if he went outside and he did that and he shot 36 times, 39 times, whatever reason, you'd think it would be an open and shut case. Well, you got to come and listen to the video, the actual full review. I'm not even going in like I could be. Y'all know how I am. I break these videos all the way down to its last little molecule, okay? We're gonna do that tomorrow at 12 noon. So make sure you on the YouTube channel, Kevin Wesley, the Truth Factory, all right? And we're gonna have a really strong, powerful build. I think that we'll understand more of why this case wasn't so open and shut and why this man is still facing life in prison and why she is not yet convicted or in jail or even being tried for murder. Do you understand? So I want parents, above all, I want to leave you with this before I get off this video. Make sure that we are raising our children to understand what to do in these enraged situations. When we have a son and daughter who start to date, or just our children begin to date, regardless of what their sexuality is, you have these immature people who are claiming to love each other, but they're also undisciplined in how to treat each other. So when they get mad, which is inevitable, right? How they respond could ruin their life, ruin their freedom, take their life, okay? Ruin their reputations, okay? I'm talking about for the foreseeable future. So you should be very worried, very concerned about who your person is dating, even if they are actually sweet. Even if they seem fine on the surface, if they seem to have it all together, you have not seen them angry. And if you have not raised your child on how to handle their own anger and what to do when someone else is enraged at them, you might be setting them up for failure, okay? Now, I'm gonna play Anton from the Lapeef Network, okay? Let's just want this one last clip before we end this video, and I want you guys to understand what a lot of men are thinking because of what a lot of men are experiencing. Listen to this very powerful video.
You want to know what's really wrong with the black community? Is that the woman is out of her purpose and she's not a helpmeet no more. Yep. She's the enemy. She's more of an enemy than the white man ever has. She's more of an enemy than anybody in history has ever been to the black community, because she's the very person that comes in with deceit and looks to use you and then disperse of you when she's done with you. And then she'll move on when it's all said and done, and then say, well, what about the kids? Fuck them kids and fuck that woman too. Throw that hoe out with the bathwater. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. Start the fuck over. Get a whole new group of women, and then fix the community that way.
Black women, have you ever thought about how asinine it is to ask for protection from the same men that are the very reason you need protection in the first place? See, black men, we don't need you to protect us. We simply need you to stop being the reason we need protection in the first place. A black woman is unalived every 4.8 hours in this country, over 90% of the time by a black man. Black women are 3 times more likely to be unalived by a domestic partner than any other race of woman. So again, stop being the reason we need protection, and y'all wouldn't even have to worry about protecting us. See how that works? Bless your hearts.
Now, on the flip side, there are a lot of women saying that black men are being aggressive towards them, using them, stalking them, hurting them, unaliving them at alarming rates. So on both sides, you have men and women saying, yo, I'm not safe, and you are the reason I'm unsafe. So why don't we recognize that it's going to take both of us coming together now and understanding how exactly are we unsafe and what is exactly happening to you, so we can come together and fix this, because this is our children's lives at stake, family. We're going to have sons and daughters. You have mothers and fathers. You have brothers and sisters. And woe be it for us to live in a world that men go down for things that women get away with, okay? Or that women have to look over their shoulder because some man is going to stalk them and potentially do some harm to them. You understand? In this situation, this wasn't a setup, her using him necessarily. You got to see the whole thing. There's a little of that in there too. But this situation blew up because she found some things in his phone, so she said, okay? But how she acted in that moment, family, was to create chaos, was to ruin this man's life all the same, even as if she was to come into his life with the intention to ruin his life or to take from him. Do you understand? If a man is dating a woman and he loves her, as soon as he's upset with her, even if it's a justifiable reason that he's upset, she's cheating on him, she's doing whatever, if his first thoughts is to end her life, take from her, injure her in some way, that's doing her just as bad as if someone came in her life with the intentions to harm her, because the harm is yet still done, right? Why don't we know how to handle our emotions and walk away from situations and handle them the right way? If you feel in danger, call the police. If someone does something to you, call the police. Why are we weaponizing our loved ones? Why are we using them as shields? Why are we using them as weapons to go about our own narrative? Why? Family, this video, these videos may definitely trigger you as to what you've heard. But if you come and see the actual case, I believe it's going to bother you even more. But I believe we'll learn a lot about how men and women are interacting in the system and the world that we live in, and the precautions that we must take going forward so we can be healthy, so we can be safe, okay? How we raise our sons and how we raise our daughters that ultimately end up in this being manifested this way. Both of them are children in adult bodies. Why is that the case? Okay? Why don't they have the mental capacity to be able to deal with situations like this, to be able to deal with being upset in the moment, to deal with being cheated on, to deal with somebody having a smart mouth? Why are we always reacting in a violent way that destroys our lives and the lives of others? Okay? We're going to go over all of this tomorrow, okay? 12 noon, Kevin Wesley, The Truth Factory, YouTube. Don't forget, family, this is going to be a great, much needed build, all right? Be evolution, be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it is in that chaos that you have found yourself. Peace.